Hey everyone, welcome back to the Spector Creative channel. I'm Toy Guru Neitlich, your host, and we talk toys, we talk behind the scenes, distribution, character choices, and all of that. Because, well, besides being a collector, I've also made toys, lots of toys. Toys for kids, toys for adults, toys for people who don't want toys and don't buy toys. Okay, I didn't make those. Well, I did, but they didn't sell. Today, I want to talk about the whole issue of the Wicked toys. Let me reach this here. All right, what am I talking about? I'm putting this thing here, right? So I think everyone out in Toyline knows there's a major issue going along. I'll put to the back there. You can see the website on the toy there, right there, wicked.com, which we all know, or maybe you didn't know before, but you now know is an adult movie site. And I made a video explaining how this mistake could have happened. I am a former Mattel copywriter. I'm also a former Mattel marketing director, but I started as a copywriter. That was my first job. So I made a video, which I'll link at the end here, explaining logistically how this mistake happened. So now let's talk about how are they going to get out of this? So looking at other competitive Wicked product at retail, and what's interesting is, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, is when you see a full planogram for a movie line specifically, something like Wicked, that's a tentpole event for a studio and is meant to be like, big movie that's going to have a big toy line in multiple categories. So, not just your token, one or two figures like Beetlejuice got, but Wicked has dolls, it has role play, it has karaoke, it has, all sorts of categories, plush, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, that's what you want to do in order to have a full planogram. And what happens more and more is the studios split this up over multiple companies, but they all use the same design kit. Basically, the licensor supplies them with elements that are what's called a style guide. And so again, here, I'll grab my Wicked doll again here. So that would include things like, the green and the pink, the fonts, all of the logos, all of this is provided by the licensor, the studio, if you will. And this is done so that multiple toy companies that are making components of the same display will look the same. So, for example, if you were to go to a toy store, do we even have toy stores anymore? Okay, if you're going to Walmart or Target, and you go to the Wicked aisle, or I think it's like the doll aisle, and Wicked doesn't have its own aisle, I know that. You will see that you've got the Mattel dolls, and then right next door you've got the Jax Pacific role play items, the dresses, and there's Lego. I mean, there's all sorts of products, and they all have the same trade dress or style guide. So they look like they're from the same company, but they're not. They're from like 4 or 5 different companies. Mattel makes the dolls, Lego makes the construction, Jax makes the dress up. I think Just Play that has a sing along karaoke kind of thing and with a microphone. So yeah, so different companies have the license for different categories, but they all look the same on shelf. So it looks like one company is making the whole thing. All right, so if you do look at this Wicked display at a toy store, you will see there are now holes, specifically where these dolls used to be, because Mattel has recalled them. Now, the way they recalled them was basically they changed the SKU number in the system so that when you scan the barcode, it comes up as do not sell. Luckily, I was able to get this before, like that 24-hour window before this all happened. So that's the first step in correcting it, is to make the item not sellable. Then it all has to get shipped back. So the question is that there's a couple ways they can correct this. So you have a very limited window for movie releases, which is now. When you ship something from China, where most toys are made, it takes anywhere from 4 to 16 weeks to cross the Pacific and get to retail in the U.S. Whether you're docking it, in Long Beach and then shipping by rail, or docking on the East Coast, then you'll also ship by rail. But either way, distribution from leaving the factory to winding up on a toy shelf is anywhere from 4 to 16 weeks. Usually, I would say about 10 is the average. And so essentially, you can't just go back into production, if you will. If they were to go back into production and make all new Wicked dolls and ship them, they wouldn't be here till January, and they would miss the entire holiday season. So the best option is for Mattel to overlabel the product, which I explained in the previous video. That's when you take a sticker post-production and put it over the figure, the offending area. So what they would do is they would just basically print a green sticker that would go over the URL here, or it might even have white lettering on it that has the correct URL, which is wickedthemovie.com. Now, the question is, who does the overlabel? It seems like it would make sense if you could get Target employees to do that, because then they could just, take a sticker sheet, go to the aisle and peel off a sticker and put it on. That doesn't happen because Target employees, Walmart employees are not trained to do that, and it's extra labor that they would have to do that basically the store would voluntarily be giving to the manufacturer, and that's not going to happen. No manufacturer is going to depend on a store correcting a package or a label. That's going to have to be done by reps from the company. You've probably seen them. They're called retail service reps. Mattel and Hasbro has them. I think Spin probably has them. Jax has them. And these are the people that go out, actually usually on, for Black Friday and Christmas sales, and to basically clean up the displays, make them look good, fill them with product, because you can't rely on the stockers at Target and Walmart to always do this. They kind of do their stocking sort of, whatever is in at a time. With the reps, they'll go in targeted and they'll be like, okay, they'll come in like with a case of corrected Wicked dolls, right? Specifically to put them in that display. So ideally for Mattel, what they'll do is they will pull the dolls from shelf, bring them to a central distribution center, hire sales reps or bring their retail sales reps to physically spend a day relabeling tens of thousands of dolls. And that's expensive because now you're paying for this also in the US. It's way more expensive for labor. Then they would ship them back to stores. The other option being that you just go back into production overseas, make all new product, all new packaging, but doing that, you either have to air ship, which is incredibly expensive, or sea ship, which is slow. Even if you got a fast boat and got it here in like 3 weeks, you're barely making Christmas at this point. Then, of course, there's a third option where they just throw their hands up in the air and be like, you know what? We screwed up, but the cost to fix this is just way too much, and we're just going to, let it go. Not to be too Elsa. So probably they're not going to be able to do that because the licensor is going to be, the movie studio is going to be pretty pissed. They trusted, they got paid by Mattel or any toy company, but in this case we're talking about Mattel, to get this product out there for the holiday season and to be, day and date to the movie. That's the whole point. No matter what, at this point, they've missed it. And their best option is to throw money at the problem and to basically use U.S. labor and U.S. facilities to overlabel and get this back on shelf. It's very, very expensive to do that. But Mattel may have to do that because they may be contractually obligated to have product on shelf. So that's kind of what we'll have to see in the next few weeks is, do we start to see Wicked dolls showing up at retail again with overlabels, or do we see nothing and we see these dolls show up in time for the home video release or streaming release, which will probably be in like February or March. So that's the other, those are the kind of 2 times you get a bump in sales, is the weekend the movie comes out and the weekend that it hits home viewership. Usually you try to time a second wave to hit at that home viewership release. So yeah, they're definitely, they're up a creek without a yellow brick road here, because there's no cheap, easy solution to this. They either have to produce all new product and wait for it to get here, or spend a ridiculous amount of money and have it overlabeled. When you're overlabeling overseas, like if you catch the error during production, it's a lot less expensive because, well, to be blunt, Chinese labor is a lot less than American labor, if you go by hourly wages. So overlabeling overseas is not as hard on the wallet, if you will, as if you had to overlabel here in the US. So combined with the fact that they have a movie release, Christmas, and obligations to the studio, I'm going to guess that Mattel is going to, whether they like it or not, have to get this stuff back on shelf as quickly as possible. But you never know. I mean, weirder things have happened. But this was definitely, I've seen mistakes from copywriters. I've made them. You know, I've had typos on packaging. I think I had a typo in, I want to say Tila's bio. I can't remember. But I've never seen anything like this where it was like not only an incorrect website, but an inappropriate website that clearly on children's product is an issue. So yeah, let's see how they solve this one. But no matter what, it's going to take time and money. And with everything going on in the toy industry these days, that looking at that kind of expense for what should have been a very easy doll sale of Wicked dolls is, well, turning into something that is much more akin to Return to Oz than Wizard of Oz as far as happy stories. All right. Hopefully you understood that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. It's always the best way to support this channel. And as always, let me know if there's other topics I can help cover. I think from my experience, actually, working for Mattel and other toy companies allows me to hope clarify these things. So thank you much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.